That might be
Some
It's a
great
sandbox.
live
It's a
shots.
soapbox. It's Fanbox.
Well, hey there, sugar. This here's Lenore Zan, and you're watching Fandoms.
And that's right, Fandoms. Welcome to another episode. We're going to try to be a little bit more consistent moving forward, just because life has been getting to us. But we'll let's go ahead and just talk about the Red Guardian in the room.
I'm just trying to game the algorithm, man.
Exactly.
Thunderbolts is hot.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about it. Let's just go into it.
What, the movie? The helmet? What are you talking
No,
about?
don't talk about the movie. I haven't seen it yet. I'm sorry. I was out of state.
Look, Look, I understand. There's a lot of stuff going on, but come on. Actually, that's good though, because you'll be doing what I hope is going to happen, which is that we don't see a major drop off in box office this week. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that everything they've done, because if you guys don't know, there's been some shenanigans with Marvel in their promotional campaign of the movie, and they went a direction none of us really thought they would, but they did, and it was fun. And the whole point is, I think they're trying to generate buzz so that way they can have a good second weekend, because I think it was the movie Sinners actually had an insane box office where their second week did not have the traditional 50% drop off. But no, I like every other bad idea I have, I always seem to realize within 48 hours of when a new property drops, oh, I can print something for that. And so I'm like, oh, and look, man, I got to be honest. It's not because I wanted to make a Red Guardian helmet. I just thought, oh, this would be I like it where I set these ridiculous goals that I'm pretty sure are achievable, because then I know it'll also be something I'll enjoy making some content about. It's like, where do we stand? Where am I in the process? That's why I did it. But I 3D printed this. It's the Do 3D model that's available at 3D.com. And it's just two pieces. It's the front, back, and then all the stuff you do for the chin strap and the like. Very amazingly comfortable for the considering it's hard plastic. But then again, I do have it lined with a piece of felt for a little bit of comfort.
Sure.
I don't know if it helps breathability, but
hugging the chrome dome.
Yeah, and it's the first thing, because the thing I do about this is I always want to try and come up with the most practical way to make the helmet. So in other words, how much can we do to where we're not doing much of it after it comes off the build plate? But with this one, even though I had a ruby red color, this was the first time I played with acrylic paint and weathering in order to give it both a darker color and also make it look a little more worn and less, straight out the factory.
If you're listening to this after the fact, or let's say on the podcast version, go to @that Will Wilkins on TikTok and watch the videos. Like that whole weathering was really cool. Like looking at that and seeing how that went.
Dude, it's the most terrifying thing you ever do the first time you've done it. When you're like, I don't know how this is going to turn out. And the first time I figured I would test on the back headpiece, because it's like one of those areas where the least amount of detail is going to be paid attention to.
Right.
And I tried it out there, and I still, even though I did it, I don't think there was enough water in that paint. And when it just went on thick, I went, all right, just wipe it off. Just wipe it off. It's okay. It'll be fine. And it was. And then you lose all fear. You're just like, you're
like, just do it.
Yeah, you are. You're like all over the place with it.
Yeah, so that's the thing.
A toddler given a pumpkin to paint.
When I'm painting D&D miniatures, like doing that to the same thing, like you don't want to just be a clean, like you want to like dirty it up a little bit and add some black. It's always terrifying. And then when you start doing it, you're just like, it's a little bit addictive, because like, oh, let's weather this, let's weather that. Like let's just go ahead and weather everything.
It's also interesting because it really is very much a trust the process type of thing. And you learn as you go too, that there is a certain amount of dry time. So it's like, after I really wanted in the point where the bridge of the nose meets up with the eyes and the kind of virtual eyebrows in here, I really wanted that spot to kind of have a lot more weathering to kind of create a darker detail there. And eventually I learned, just like through a few applications. It's like, oh, if I had let it set 30 seconds more the first time, I would have more paint on it. But let's end this nonsense now because I can't take myself seriously looking at my own face in this thing. And that's how it comes apart. Isn't
That's
that
awesome.
that's
Yes.
that was easy.
And the magnets, right? Is you just keep it using.
Always.
Yeah, yeah.
Always the magnets. And that's very similar to the Daredevil helmet as well. I'm very much fond of these, helmet style helmets that really do just kind of encapsulate the area a helmet goes on.
Oh yeah.
Like the Deadpool one is claustrophobic. The Wolverine one, very cool. So
Yeah.
I
So
really prefer the bottom half of the face being free.
yeah, early on, I did an Iron Man mask. Now, mind you, I already have the Hasbro Legends one, but I did one. It was supposed to be a statue. It was a smaller statue. I of course, when you start 3D printing, you start getting like adventurous. You blow things up. Because it's like, how
Yeah.
big can I get it without it really looking bad? And so I did that with it. It wasn't like, it's not true to scale, but it's a good size. And I didn't have the energy to finish the rest of the bust. So what I ended up doing was I took a hot knife and I kind of like scraped and broke the mask a bit, and I put a skull inside and have a little bit of light in it. And so I did the whole blackwashing thing on the skull to give it some like some gore,
Age. Yeah.
and did that to the mask. And so I have the zombie Tony Stark head that I'll pull out at Halloween and put on my desk or do whatever with, along with my Groot skull that I got from I think it was Michael's. They had it at one time like 2 years ago. So I was like, okay, let's do this. But for those of you who are watching, we went into a whole bunch of stuff without ever introducing. This is
Yeah.
of course Fandoms. I'm Tony. This is Will. This is Fanbox. So it's fanbox.com. You can find out more about our other podcast on Fanbox Podcast, or sorry, fanboxnetwork.com. Later on tonight, there will be an Andor after Andor show that normally takes place on Saturday. In order to have more people on, they're doing it tonight at 10. And then we will also be doing TARDIS Talk on Sunday. It will be record. You know what? Will, what do you think? Should we just go live tonight or tomorrow night instead of just
I mean,
recording?
what does it really matter in the long run?
Well, TARDIS Talk will probably be live tomorrow evening.
There you go.
That way it can just be done. You don't have to worry about it. We'll have it scheduled and posted later on. But before we go any further, because tonight we're talking about theme parks, and just because in my mindset there's been a lot of stuff going on. Let me just take a second to come on. There we go. We go to, of course, theme parks. And there is the Epic Universe that is coming out on the 22nd of May, which I will be looking forward to attending in Orlando in June. So, yeah.
And you know what I wish I was doing this weekend, but again, Mother's Day. There is also for those that don't know, Epic Universe is just this amazing collection of new worlds that they put together, including
Mhm.
like How to Train Your Dragon. Actually, that's the only one I really know about.
Universal Monsters,
Mhm.
the Super Mario World. They also have like the Celestial Park, which is the center place, and I believe the last one is the Ministry of Magic for the Harry
W
Potter.
Yeah, and down in Southern California, Universal Studios Hollywood, they
Mhm.
are actually just doing like a fan week, or something along those lines, and they have special events, and one of the installations they've set up is a Star Trek immersive experience
Oh, nice.
that to where you go by the engine room, you go to you have to go to and it's an immersive experience.
Mhm.
You get to go to the medical bay, but most importantly, this is set on on the next generation chip, and they rolled out the set where they recreated that bridge for the third season of Picard on Paramount Plus, and that is now like the key centerpiece to this whole thing. So
Yeah.
you literally walk onto the Enterprise D bridge, and I'm just like, I want to go there now.
Now that is the Star Trek that I started my journey on in
Yeah,
Star Trek.
yeah.
I am a TNG, like that's it's close, it's near and dear to my heart. But yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. I know like even with like Epic Universe is gonna be all brand new and it's gonna be different. They've already talked about it. They're gonna do like a Wicked Land there. So they'll have the poppy fields and
They
the
know where the
emerald
money's
cities.
printed.
They know where the money's printed. Yes, exactly. The sky is the limit. They're going to have like at some point, they're going to run out of space because all of the walls will be, or all of the barriers will just be portals in Celestial Park, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, pretty cool. Looking forward to talking a little bit more about that. But before we go into that, Will, I'm going to take over a little bit and I want to talk about something that's exciting for me. You do your magic mind. I'm going to do my fan home. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and talk about the fan home Batman experience. Now, this looks all fancy just because I feel like I need to put in effort for the value that I am getting from this product. And let me explain why. Every month you can get different hardbound books of the Legends of Batman comics, and these are amazing. They're well put together, and of course, what's really cool is the inside binding makes this really cool thing, and you can kind of see it here with me. Let me go and move myself a little bit for you. Just you can see it's not just a series of comic books. It's also really a great art piece that you can have on your bookshelf, wherever you want to have it. This week, I actually just got my order today. I got the Neil Adams Batman comics, which is like iconic. They're part one, so there's a part two that's coming in. I got the Batman I Am Gotham. I've also got Batman Prey, and there's also a series of like special ones that they get. I've gotten like Flashpoint, and then this one is Catwoman, her sister's keeper, and When in Rome. So these are really cool, really well done, and of course because you keep getting them and you get as a monthly subscription, you also get different gifts, whatever. I've gotten prints, you can get mugs, and this week I got the Batman bookend, which is going to help keep all of these together because I am literally struggling to find a place that I can put all of these books without them toppling over. So I need this. I can't wait for the next one to come in. It'll be a different Batman logo. But with that said, go check it out. Fanhome.com. Just look up on there. You'll see in the top right hand corner, like over there, yeah, where there's an option for DC. There's two things you can find there. There's the Legend of Batman books, like you see here, as well as a subscription service to build your own like Batman Batmobile from the I think it was like the 1960s TV show. And we're talking about the iconic Batman TV show with Pow Bam and all that kind of stuff. But so go check it out. You won't regret it. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. And being a Marvel fan, it's nice to go back to some of the stuff that I really enjoyed because I grew up on DC, and yep, that's it. So yeah, thank you for letting me take over, Will. I appreciate that.
You don't need to thank me for you like driving your show, man. Just FYI.
Just let
I think you should be more marveling at the fact that, oh, I'm sorry, DCing at the fact that that was probably the longest stretch you've ever seen me be quiet on anything.
Well, also you were deactivated, so you could have said anything you wanted, and only I would have heard it.
That's scrolling TikTok. It's cool.
That's awesome. So yeah, so
actually, hold on.
Okay.
I just got to tell you something. When you're dealing with a co-host, all right, that has been known, proven at this point, I think, to bring a certain level of anarchy, gleefully so for at least one of the two people involved on this program. I don't think you want to admit the fact that I could start audio bomb you while you're trying to do an ad read. Why would you allow yourself to get weaponized like that? That wasn't very smart, man. I'm just saying.
I'm sorry, I forgot who I'm hosting.
You did. You're like, you know what? I'm just gonna open up this. You're
it's
like,
almost like
it's
I
okay.
had to
I
give
can
you
get away.
something.
It's like I can get away with reading the Darkhold. No big deal.
No, literally,
You
no, but like, let's face it. If you guys go back, watch the let's see, it was the TARDIS Talks episode. Like, I wasn't in there because I was in Nashville for a family emergency, and I was on like the back end, and of course it was driving me nuts. You'll see there's lots of comments from its fan box. That was me. And Will got a little spry, and I got to turn off his camera a couple times. But yeah, I guess I needed to give you something.
what
it wasn't
by the way,
intended.
how did that? I mean, obviously, there's circumstances why weren't fun, but how did it feel to see me basically running your show. Was that weird for you?
No, actually, it wasn't. The only thing that I was like sitting there going like, "Oh no," is when you're like trying to say it's a soapbox, it's a it's a sandbox, it's fanbox. I was like,
I couldn't
it's
I don't know why I
it's
couldn't
okay.
remember Sandbox of all things. It's so easy.
No,
But
yeah, it was no, but other than that, no, I enjoyed it.
way to be on
I'll be
brand, right?
I'll be honest. No, I'll be honest with you. Like one of the things about doing its Fanbox is like I want it to be its own thing, and it doesn't need to have this face every time. Like, I want
Yeah.
people to create and I want people to have fun, and that's why I just love I don't know if you're in the Fanbox, Instagram, chat group, but just seeing how people are excited pulling things out and, talking about what they wanna do next has been so much fun, and I appreciated it, and it was funny because I actually checked my messages and I realized, Tony Ann, who did the Revenge of the Sith show, I didn't see her message until, like, days after when she's like, "Are you gonna be on? Because 'Cause I'm terrified." And I was like, "No, I didn't see it. I'm so sorry. Next time, here's my cell phone number, you know, call me next
I
time."
it was very interesting for me getting under the hood of how this is run, because I'm very adamant on my stuff about like being way too much of a control freak and still
Mhm,
insisting on using OBS to switch everything. So it was
mhm,
interesting to see other companies' takes on these things and
mhm.
how the knowledge I had was able to translate to something else in order to set some things up there for like TARDIS talk and the like, and helping David with the Andor talk, which whew, can I just say, since this is fandoms, I feel compelled to say this. First of all,
Sure.
absolutely no spoilers. I'm telling you right now that in the pantheon of Marvel movies,
Mhm,
all right, Guardians of the Galaxy is still maybe my number one. And I say maybe number one because now the number two slot would have always been Thor Ragnarok, but
mhm.
now it's not. And I almost want to make Thunderbolts equal to number one, if not number one. And I'm not saying it's the Marvel du jour, if you will. I'm saying
Okay.
it because, like, I genuinely, it's the first time in a long time in a Marvel movie, I sat there and I'm like, wait a second, we're no, we're already at the third act. That can't be. I was
Mhm.
riveted from beginning to end, my friend. Every single bit. Absolutely adored it. And then I just also have to say, you got to look forward to Andor talk later tonight, because if you're all caught up, oh my gosh, the way that show is threading the needle so well while telling a very, because art is always reflective of the time it's created in,
Mhm.
regardless of what the story is. And you can
Oh, yeah.
tell that this story is informed in many ways by some of the things that are going on in the entire geopolitical spectrum.
Right.
But man, oh man, Andor is just absolutely crushing it. It is Rogue One to me. I referred to it as, it is Star Wars Prime. It really is,
Yeah.
because it it tells an amazing story in that universe, and there's not a Jedi to be seen, not a single one. I mean, we see one laser sword, just the one.
Mhm.
That's it, and it's not even his. So, or it's not even a Jedi's. So it's an amazing movie. And I would have thought there's no way Andor can even top that, even though it's a prequel to that. And in many ways, it's on par, if not equal,
Yeah.
to the original product. So if you've been sleeping on Andor, great news. If you hold off until next weekend, you can just watch the whole thing, go right into Rogue One, and have an entire wasted weekend of Star Wars story.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard great things. I will be honest, I am one of those individuals that has not started. So, yeah, I know I've gotta get on it, but I almost feel like I'm gonna enjoy just binging it all together.
I
So
you know, I would have to agree, because last Sunday I guested on The Real Study, and the two movies were Solo and Rogue One. Even though the release order was Rogue One before Solo, I think everybody on the panel pretty much wanted to get Solo out of the way so we could watch Rogue One again. And
yeah.
the only thing I was bitter about in watching Rogue One again was I was watching it before Andor was done because I was looking forward to riding
Going
the
back
entire
and
Andor journey and then going into Rogue One. But now it makes me appreciate, like, especially this last episode, because there are certain elements that kind of pay off here that help inform more of what Cassian Andor is, what he's about, and why he's the person he is when we meet him in Rogue One. So,
sure.
yeah.
Well, today we're actually kind of deviated a little bit, which is perfectly fine because that's kind of how we are. We never stick on topic. Welcome to
Netheads
my
has
life.
taught you well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You never know. We theme parks, yeah. Hey, theme parks.
You
You
know
said
what?
it. We're done.
Sometimes
Let's go. Let's talk about something else now. Yeah,
sometimes the best thing that you can do, Tony, is just throw convention out the window. And you just sit down and you say, "No, I don't know what's gonna happen when we sit down and talk, but something will happen." And worst comes to worst, even if it's a bad show, we'll have a story about it afterwards.
exactly. And listen, you can always change the cover image. That's just how it is. You can change cover images, you can change the text. But yeah, so I do want to talk about like theme parks. Now, I want to preface this. We're already like 21 minutes into this, and if you're listening to this later on or you're watching this later on, just be understanding it's your fault for going this long. Just it is what it is. But we are
You brought you here. We didn't
you
do it.
you yeah, you obviously you are a sadist in some way because you're just listening to this banter. I imagine if we were in person together, I think it would be mass mayhem. I'm just saying. But it is what it is. There's this makes the heart grow fonder.
It's funny you say that though, because I think about that often as I see like all of the more modern day podcasts when it is two people in the same space. Because
Yeah.
it's like they all look. The funniest part is they all look the same now because it's going to be a person sitting in a chair with a microphone coming in from the side, and the
Mhm.
image isn't going to be centered. It's going to be a little off, and then your host is going to be at the opposite angle, but still a little off. They're going to be facing. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, and I think about, man, that's something we'll never have.
But honestly, Will, if we really took the time, we could probably get our rooms in that we could actually make it look like we were together.
Yeah, that's weird though.
Mm,
That's weird.
you know me. But
That's
anyway,
weird.
theme parks. um,
That's
yeah.
weird.
So next month I will be heading down to Orlando. We are going now. It's not anything like before I get in this because I need to preface this because the last time I went and did something and it seemed like I got early access to something, people on social media were reaching out like, "Hey, who's your publicist?" I don't have one. I don't have the consistency to get a publicist. So just blot that out of your mind. We are going for a specific case. I would rather us not having to be going for this, but my son has a heart condition, and so he is a Make a Wish kid, and so Make a Wish is sending us down. He wanted to go to California because of Mario World, but then in the process of us doing this planning for the last couple of years, we discovered that there was going to be a Mario World in Florida through Epic Universe. And so we were told, maybe this is a little bit of a thing. If you don't know what Make a Wish does, they pour their hearts and souls into the kids, that have either terminal or life changing diseases. And my kid just had his defibrillator
Dude, quit
installed, and
apologizing. Just quit
no, I'm not
apologizing for it.
apologizing. But what I'm saying is there are if you don't know about Make-A-Wish, like people have done the whole John Cena thing and like seeing different celebrities or having people come into their rooms, which is fine, especially for kids who can't go somewhere. But a lot of these kids, they'll get like gaming setups or they'll get to do like a NASCAR experience or whatever. And my kid wanted to go and see Mario World. And they're like, yeah, we'll fly you out there, all expenses or whatever. It'll be for 6 days, but if you go to Florida, and the reason why they do this is because, and this again, look it up. You can donate or whatever. There's a place called Give the Kids a World, and it's a resort specifically for Make a Wish kids. And because of it, and because it's separate from Make a Wish, they can send these kids down for longer. And so, what would have been a 6 day like trip or 5 day trip is now like a 7 day trip. But if you include the fact that we're driving down, it's more like a 9 to 10 day trip.
Mm.
And so we're going down, full expenses paid. They will have character meet and greets at the site. They roller coasters and putt and everything at the resort, and then they're sending us to like SeaWorld one day, 2 days at a Universal park, and then 3 days with park hoppers to Disney World. And all of that, along with like expenses and stuff to be able to take care of him, he's super excited. And the reason why I say like don't think anything of it is because when we went to the Guardians premiere, people thought that we were there because of me and social media, and that's not the case. I actually had a person reach out to me and like, hey, let's be friends. Now, how do you get to these movie premieres? I'm like, I have a kid with a congenital heart defect. Like, yeah, like it's not don't recommend that route. But it's one of those things where we're going to be down there. We're going to enjoy it. My kid is super excited. He's excited for Super Mario World. He's very excited for How to Train Your Dragon, especially when we discovered that they have dragons walking around in the park.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't, like, these Boston Dynamic style robots with controls are put in dragon skin, and they're walking around the park playing things like Toothless Says, and like right before rides you can go and see your active robotic friend. So it's rather amazing what they're doing. And it's it's getting a lot of attention right now, and it's probably going to be very busy. But let me ask you real quick, Will. You've got kids. You've done the dad on to trips. Mind you, it's probably been like California Adventure and Disneyland, and maybe some other places. What is your big go to when you prepare yourself to go to a theme park?
I start I make sure that I'm walking regularly every morning for the month beforehand.
Good point.
So that way I just have good walking memory muscles.
Mhm.
Also, I start making sure I've got really good broken in shoes.
That's a good point. So I went in 2022 with brand new shoes. Now, mind you, they were a little bit more cheaply made, and I think that worked to my benefit because breaking them in was really easy. But if you go with like a good, like brand new pair of shoes, be prepared for sores, be prepared for like hurting feet because it does take a while to kind of break in things that are comfortable. Like we got my kid a pair of shoes now so that he can have them broken in before he goes on the trip so that there's no like sores and stuff because that
Mhm.
makes for miserable kids when you're walking around.
And miserable adults.
Yeah, true. Now, when I was 3 years old, my mom took me to Disney. Now, this was, um, 86, 87, and they only had Epcot and Magic Kingdom at the time in Disney World, and we went, and I remember my mom made sure that my socks were changed on a regular basis. Tells you kind of a little bit about how the prima donna I am today because my mother took care of me so well. So I don't like bugs. I don't like outside. I don't like really walking a whole lot, but I do it. But yeah. So a couple things that we discovered going back after all this time with all of these parks. Um, if your kid doesn't have good stamina, if you know they're going to crap out at some point and you're not going to want to carry them around everywhere, get the stroller at the beginning of the park. Get the whatever they have that you can push them around. And if you have one kid, it doesn't hurt to get the double stroller because it's going to give them much more room. And these things are like hard plastic. They have a covering over them, so like it protects them from the sun. They can easily take a nap. You can like attach your bags and stuff to it, so it actually kind of doubles as a really good carry-all type like device. And it's really cheap. So get that. And if of course if you're not bringing one with you and you're a person that has mobility issues, they do have scooters with a deposit at the beginning of the parks, and
Mhm.
you have to get them subject to availability. So once they're sold out, you're walking. So I recommend, especially if you're going down and you're preparing yourself in advance, or if you're going to any park, see what the policy is about like the area rentals. Because if you're at one of the Disney resorts, you can have an area rental delivered to your resort with your name on it, and it will be right there where you get picked up by the buses, and you can literally just get to it or bring it into your room, and you've got it for the whole time you're there, not having to worry about getting on the bus and walking from the bus, getting into the park, and then from the park hoping that there's another wheelchair. So just an option.
Yeah, I was really bummed when my youngest was no longer stroller age because you're like, "Ah, there goes the wonderful carrying system."
Uh-huh.
Like, we
How
even
old was
had
yours?
what do you mean?
What age was yours no longer?
Well, it wasn't really so much about age as much as the practicality of, going. I
Mm,
think, the way it went, I got into a bad car accident in, I think it was 2016, and it was right before a trip to Disneyland, so I had a mess back, and so I ruined that trip, and then we finally went back in 2019, and at that time, Blair would have been, what's 9 minus 4? 5. She would have been 5 years old. So
okay.
that was the last time we went with a stroller because after that, we didn't go until after the pandemic, and there was no strollering for her anymore because I
Okay.
can't even remember what age, but I think that was like we were pushing it at 5 with her, I felt.
Okay.
But still, we had our own stroller. It was one of those jogger ones, and we even there was a clever saddlebag we were able to get with it, so it had a long vertical bag and a bottle holder attachment. It was pretty swaggy, I gotta admit. But it was a bummer to know that would happen. And look, I gotta tell you something too. When you said theme parks, I had a minor sense of dread because I don't have, believe it or not, a breadth of experience with theme parks. I have not been to Universal in forever. I have never been to Knott's Berry Farm here in,
Okay.
in Southern California, or not here in Southern, but down in Southern California. I've never been to Six Flags Magic Mountain, which is on the way to Southern California. Uh, Locally here, we have a park that has gone several different owners. It's simply known as, I think, Great American. For the
Okay.
longest time, they had the Warner Brothers characters. Then it transitioned to
Okay.
the Peanuts characters. Now I have no idea. But the land has also been sold, so we don't. It's only got about maybe 8 more years, and then it's going to be gone. So the
Yeah.
the major theme park from my childhood soon will not exist, like many other things that in my life that have been erased from existence. Um, like the middle school I went to doesn't exist anymore. The high school that I went to, 3/4 of those buildings gone, whole new
Yeah.
one built. I'm convinced the second house I ever lived in, gone. It's a business park now. I'm convinced every bit of my history is just being overwritten by the Matrix. But anyway, neither here nor there. Great America and Disneyland are my two go-tos. And Disneyland
Okay.
is my favorite theme park. It's my favorite place to be in the world. My wife and I honeymooned there. And I think one of the best footwear experiences I had there, I have tested it lately, but I wouldn't doubt it. My the trip we went where I wore Birkenstocks before Birkenstocks were fashionable. And I kid you not, I did not have back pain. I didn't have leg pain. I didn't have foot pain. It was one of the best trips I ever had.
Yeah, see, I had a pair of Crocs that I really loved. Um, Unfortunately, I'm putting this on record, and my wife is probably going to hate me for it. Somehow, in one of our journeys, my wife lost one of the shoes, and so it unfortunately has been a source of contention for a while. And I'm speaking about it again. And the reason why was because it was actually a custom, well, not custom, but they were made, they were Avengers style. It was Iron Man, and the rim of the shoe had like comic strips Iron Man, and it had like the Avengers logo, and it had like a emblem of Iron Man. And so those were my go-to, like going places and traveling and walking, because they felt comfortable, and it was kind of like a Birkenstock style, but much cheaper and plasticky. Um, but I did tennis shoes. In fact, it's my Chinese high tops. That I have, or I'll do my slip on, like the Skechers, what is it, the Skechers like loafer style shoes, just because they're easy. But yeah, so for me, it was Disney World when I was 3, Disneyland when I was like 8 or 9, and then, or Disneyland when I was 8 or 9, and then, like, in my area, we have, like, 2 parks. We have, King's Dominion, which went through, a number of, like, rebrandings. For a while, they were Paramount King's Dominion, so you could do like Star Trek and Hanna-Barbera and a whole bunch of other stuff that they did there, and then they sold it off, and it's not that anymore. That's kind of like the mainstay in this area, of course, along with Busch Gardens, which I've never been to. And then for like closer into Maryland, there was Six Flags America, which I've only been to once, and that was where all of the DC like Warner Brothers stuff was. Bugs Bunny, Looney Tunes, Superman, all that stuff. I actually won a electric guitar that was like had a Superman logo on it once. And they're actually the end of this year, they're being demolished. It's going away. The whole thing is being taken apart and probably be made something else. So yeah. Uh, yeah, that's mostly my experience. I think I've gone to one Six Flags in like New Jersey, but Disney World is kind of the thing. And I almost feel like if you've gone to Disney World, and a lot of people have never done it, or Disneyland, it kind of sets a bar. It kind of sets a standard that, as long as if you're looking to compare, it makes it a little bit more lackluster for everything else. Because the other places are more for the rides. Disney is very much for the experience. Um,
That's fair.
yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to if I ever get out to Orlando. I don't know how I'm going to feel about Disney World because I've been a Californian my entire life. So
Yeah.
naturally, I have the predilection
Mhm.
to almost the pompous attitude that Disneyland is the OG and is better. And that's foolish because there's no animal kingdom at
Right.
Disneyland. There's no there's no Avatar experience at Disneyland. Uh, so I know it's a stupid statement, but it's just that's the way it is for me.
That makes sense. Like I'll be honest with you. Like going at 3 years old, you don't remember much about the park, but I remember when I first visited Disneyland after going to Disney World. There was something collectively like that I remembered as a kid that I was like, wow, this place is really small. And Disneyland is, I will say, is very small compared to, but there's more history there.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, one of the big things is, California Avengers Campus is something I want to do
You know,
insanely.
here's the thing though, and like this recently came up conversationally as well. Like I'm not extremely motivated to go to Disneyland right now. And the reason why is because there's a lot of things in the park proper that are getting work done,
Right.
but also like I almost want to wait until they get a lot of upgrades done because they're adding way more to Avengers Campus. Because honestly
Right.
speaking, right now I feel like it's more of an influencer's photo opportunity that just happens to have web slingers also there.
Right.
Because hey, Pim's Kitchen is amazing. It's a fun novelty, but if you've been snacking all day and you don't really want to eat a large meal there,
Mhm.
not the place to go.
Right.
So really, I feel and not to mention Guardians of the Galaxy, Operation Escape or whatever the hell it's called,
Mission Breakout.
Mission Breakout. It's like for me, it's old hat because it's been that for a while. It existed before Avengers Campus.
Right.
So you got web slingers on one end, you got Mission Breakout on the other, and really in between, it's all just photo op. Because yes, they have their little experiences that occurred. Like there
Mhm.
was the reign of Deadpool for the longest time. Red Guardian's walking around Avengers Campus right now, limited time. And he will hope to raise the campus to glory. But there's not a lot there. So I part of me is really wanting to wait for another big Disneyland trip for a lot of these improvements to be made. Because honestly
True.
speaking, I don't know if it's because of the pandemic or what, but it really feels like the park kind of got behind on a lot of things that would help improve the experience. And it feels like in some places they've had a lot of wasted space. But I know there are, let's not forget too, there are plans for them to be basically building an entirely new area
Mhm.
for Disneyland as well with new experiences. So,
Yep.
I mean,
The
like
same
theme
for
park
Disney
wise,
World as well.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot going on, man.
Yeah. So
You're
it's
never
it's
gonna be able to see it all.
I think that's the thing. Like I feel like sometimes these parks, like we think of like destinations, like you hope to go there one day, but you have to understand that once you go there, your experience is going to be aided because they're going to do more stuff. Like like here's the thing, my wife regrets not going to Splash Mountain while we were there because shortly after we went, they closed it down, and now is Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which probably is a much better thing. So I'm
Yes, it
looking
is.
forward to us trying to do that and enjoying that. So we're planning on doing that. And then we were there, and it was 2022. It was December of 2022. We're sitting there looking at them testing the Tron Light Cycle ride at Tomorrowland, and my son's like, "Oh, I want to do that." I'm like, "Yeah, buddy, there, it's not ready yet." And then like we're excited about going and doing that, and then my kid was so overwhelmed with Galaxy's Edge and going on the whole Star Wars stuff that thank you again. If you have a disability, there is a thing called DAS Pass, and if you have one, it gives you places. And so my kid was doing the Rise of the Rebellion more than most people were able to do in an
Hey, let
entire
me
trip. So
and let me tell you something. That's I don't know what it's like at Disney World, but there has been also a real crackdown on those because there were
yes,
people that were abusing them. And then you've got other people like my daughter's friend's mom who like she has to wear pain patches for pain management and has to sit her around,
yep,
but she quote unquote didn't qualify,
yeah.
which is absurd.
Which
But
is
you know,
also weird because a lot of people who had wheelchairs, they're like, well, you don't have to stand anywhere; you can just sit. But they don't understand like being in a queue with a wheelchair is a very difficult thing.
Yeah, and let me tell you something too. There is an entirely different experience loading into Indiana Jones Adventure when you go in through the alternative. He's like, wait, what's going on? Why am I in an elevator? What's happening?
Right.
It's a little disorienting. But that's just the latest evolution in basically people abusing the system
Mhm.
to make things more beneficial. There were people that had like a DAS pass and legitimately, required it. But they also had season passes and they were basically leasing themselves out
Yep.
to people so that way they could have a guided experience at the park.
Yeah. Now they've got it where you have to 30 days. Well, when we did it in 2022, I think it's even changed even more since then. 30 days before your trip, you have to do a video visit or a video conference with like cast members to talk about like you don't go into too much detail, but what are your limitations? What is going on? Like
Mhm.
they had to see my son because they took a picture of him through the video. So when he scanned his thing, they could see that he was the one that had the DAS pass and that it was all because of him. And so there's a lot of working things, and I remember that because I think at one point there was even like a card system, and people were just like meeting people outside the park and giving them their DAS pass card.
Mm.
So, yeah, I completely understand why there is, but at the same time, whenever you crack down like that, it's not a perfect system, and you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to
Nope.
exclude people that read it.
Yep. No matter what you do, there's always gonna be somebody that's looking to exploit something.
Yeah.
Just like how I used to exploit the system back when it was just the fast pass system. Nowadays, things are very different. I mean, I will admit that there is a certain part of me that gratefully I find it very distasteful that the use of the Disney app and Lightning Lane or whatever it's called is something now that's very much a have and have nots type
Yeah.
class system that exists in Disneyland now. Because if you got a few extra shekels to throw in, then you get to ride Rise of the Resistance without waiting in the queue. If
Mhm.
you get to go on the everyone calls it the Cars ride, so I'm just going to call it the Cars ride instead of whatever racers that it's called. You know,
Rings razors.
yeah, you get to experience these things because you can do that. Now, back in the day, it used to just be the fast pass upgrade. And because it wasn't app based, like you could get one issued, and then after a certain amount of time or use, you could get another one. So there used to be services where you could say what days you were going. You could say how many people were in your party, how many people could be runners for your party, and then what were the important rides you wanted to go on. And aside from the one-day trip that we did to Disneyland in 2023, I think that one holds the record because in 14 hours, we went on 14 rides. So one ride every hour was a great average for just dropping in on Disneyland.
Oh yeah.
But the trip before that was the one where we also had the most fun because it balanced your day out for you. It says, you go and get a fast pass for this. While you're doing that, go on this ride. It's only going to be about 10 to 15-minute wait.
Yep.
Then most of your party goes to cash in on this, and while that's happening, or like while you were going on that ride or whatever, you send a runner over to the next thing to get the other fast passes for another ride. So we constantly had fast passes stacked, so there was always something for us to go do. And it even like asked when you had wanted your meal, and so it was this entire roadmap of success that was just absolutely foolproof in a busy, hellacious park at the
Yeah.
time, and I've never had a better experience than that. And honestly speaking, I wish that's just how every trip could be, where you could pick out
Right.
what you wanted to do, and it would just give you the formula for success. I'm telling hey, Disney, right now, instead of nickel and diming me on Rise of the Resistance passes or Splash Mountain ones,
Or Cosmic Rewind in Epcot. Yeah.
there you go. I'm telling you right now, I will pay $100 a day premium. I'm not kidding. $100 a day premium if you just provide that service instead. Let me say when I want to have my meals, what the rides are important to me for what days, and then just give me that road. You have all the data. You have the analytics, Disney. Just do it.
Yeah.
But don't.
I mean, let's face it, like it's like AI companions now at the point of like you have AI like planning out your trip. Like,
Oh, I bet you could, man. Hey,
oh,
the last episode of Netheads I did was literally that. It was an AI show. The entire show was written by AI. Well, I gave it the general idea. We ran the clock. It told me the places I could reference. I was unfortunately incredibly pleased both with what it turned out and with the end result. It was the only time I've tried to do anything with a planned schedule and set material, and it didn't feel forced and jerky.
okay.
Like
Yeah,
a
well,
ride on Autopia.
all it really did was it just kind of like directed your attention so you could do the next thing. And like,
Oh, so you're saying I've got ADHD?
I'm sorry, what were we talking about?
I don't know.
Yeah. Um
I saw something shiny and got distracted.
um so 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 you've never been to Disney World. Like are
Never been.
any
And let me tell you something. It for the longest time was not the biggest draw for me. For the longest time, Universal Studios Orlando
okay.
would
Yeah.
get all the cool stuff because Universal Studios Hollywood had finite space.
Right.
Like Back to the Future the ride came to Universal Studios Orlando first,
Right.
and I was bitter as all get out about that.
Well,
And so
it's
that would have
changed a
been my
lot.
main
Yeah.
draw to Orlando.
Yeah. I can see that. Like, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do when it comes to of Universal. I know one day is obviously going to be Epic Universe, and like we're not going to power cop. We're probably going to spend that time the whole time because like let's just enjoy it. Mind you, it's only a couple places we really want to go, and I'm not sure if John's going to want to do the whole um, Universal Monsters, even though it looks amazing. I've been showing him clips of like some of the stuff, like the Frankenstein thing is, and the Dracula stuff. Like I think he might be leaning toward it, but yeah, it could be another haunted mansion thing where we get in there. And he's like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And it's okay. It's okay. He freaked out so bad and he felt so bad. He's like, I feel like I failed. I'm like, buddy, you didn't. You're a kid. Like, if you're afraid of something, like tell me. And he did. And then somebody sprinkled a little magic, and one of the vendors just gave us free pretzels because they saw him crying. So yeah, good experience regardless. Got some Mickey pretzels, but uh, I don't know if the other two or the other day at Universal is gonna be split because I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I want to go to the Universal Studios or I want to go to Islands of Adventure more because Islands of Adventure has Marvel camp, the Marvel, world, but not too. I don't care too much about. But they've got the Jurassic Park experience there,
Ah,
and I'm gonna admit this. When they after 1993, when I saw Jurassic Park, and I coveted going to that park, and in '97, my friend went, and or '96, my friend went, and she brought me back a shirt from the riverboat ride, and I have been wanting to do that ever since. And yes, California's is better because it's Jurassic World, and it's
oh,
it's
it
much more
is?
updated.
Okay.
It's much more updated. It's got the was it the Mosasaurus like attacks at one point? It's a little bit more in depth and better special effects and cleaner, but I still want to go. I still want to do it, and I still want to see the Velociraptor. And we probably won't do the roller coaster, but I would also want to go in the Welcome Center and like live out that experience that I wanted to do as a kid. And my kid loves, Jurassic Park, and we went to Disney, and at the airport they had like a statue of Velociraptor coming out of the wall with like with foliage, and so we were like able to go. That's our Jurassic Park experience, but we want to go to the park and we want to do it.
Have you ever been to Universal Studios Hollywood?
I've never been. No,
Okay,
no,
well, first of all, before we go any further, the first thing I want to say is if you've never been to Disneyland proper, I'm going to tell you
I
something
have.
right
Yeah.
now. Regardless of what you're looped into or what your thoughts are, I'm going to tell you right now. If you're going, you want to go for a minimum of 3 days, and I'm just telling you right now, you want to plan those days so that way you can do early admission to each park. Don't really waste your time with a park hopper because I'm telling you right now, most of California Adventure you can cover in 1 day. So if you do Disneyland, California Adventure, Disneyland, I find that's the best experience. So I just wanted to
Mhm.
put that out there. Also, right now is the time of year to go. Like actually around if you go right after Cinco de Mayo, it is just a notoriously slow time. I don't know why, other than the fact that everyone has had spring break, summer's not quite here, and you can tell it's a typically slow time because it's also they're doing lots of early grad nights right now to help fill up the parks. But Universal Studios is very unique because it is, and mind you, again, I haven't been in a while, but the important thing to remember is like there is this massive area when you first come in the park, right? That has a bunch of stuff.
Mhm.
Then there are these mega escalators that have to take you down to what actually is the studio area where a lot of the sound stages are. But there's a lot of stuff and activities down there, including the Jurassic Park ride, right? And as I understand it, in the expansions they're doing, they're adding their first roller coaster to
Mhm.
Universal Studios Hollywood, and that coaster is going to be zipping around same said mega st uh, escalator system that I'm telling you. I mean, it's at like it if you've ever been in on an escalator in a Disney, property, it's
Uh-huh.
like 3 of those for like one of the parking structures. It's ridiculously large, and just the thought of the things they're doing with their roller coasters are very interesting because they do a lot of going across walking areas with roller coasters. I'm not sure I really jam with that, but it is an amazing looking thing.
Yeah.
And not to mention, what was it? There is it the there's a roller coaster that's themed around Mario Brothers, I think, that looks like it leaves the track
Oh,
because it's
it's
actually it's floating
yeah,
on a
it's
sub.
it's
There's a
it's in the
sub
Donkey Kong
right.
Country. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
Donkey
there
Kong
you
Country.
go.
It's like your like if you ever played the old Donkey Kong Country game, there's the cannons that like that pop you at the barrels that like shoot you out, and so you're in a mine cart, and it basically pops you out, and it like looks like it jumps over and lands on the track. So yeah,
Yeah.
it looks fun. It looks fun.
Yeah, but the things they got going on with the dragons, because they're a toothless experience hosted by Hiccup, and as you mentioned, there's like a baby dragon that walks around the park. Look, man, I'm not gonna lie. Looks a little Boston Robotics-ish when it moves, but
Right, right, but it doesn't matter. It's real to me.
yeah.
It is real to me. It was real to me. But then they also have the dragons flying around overhead.
Are you serious? I didn't know
Yes,
that.
they have flying. Yes, if you go look on TikTok, there are actual dragons. Like they've made these robotic dragons. They're flying overhead. They're flapping their wings as they're flying, and yeah, yeah, it's gonna be wild. and you can meet Topper, and you can meet Hiccup, and you can meet like the different characters from How to Train Your Dragon. And I imagine it's only going to get better once the live action movie comes out. So
Yeah. Well,
and let's also say the guy who plays Hiccup is phenomenal. I hope he's there when we go there.
Oh man, yeah, the one that I saw, because of course, has it opened generally, or is it still all influencer previews?
It's still previews. It does not open official to to May 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
And we were not sure that we were going to get passes through Make-A-Wish. We had somebody who has like pass holder stuff down there that was like, we'll make it work if they can't do it. And then we got notified like later on, they're like, yeah, we'll get you in for one day. And I'm like, that's all I need.
Yay.
That's all we
That's
need.
just all I need. Just let me in, please.
Just like we gotta go to Mario, we gotta eat at Toadstool's Cafe. We're gonna go into Bowser's Castle. We're gonna do the augmented reality Mario Kart thing. Like my son has been living in his mind in the Mario world for how many years? This is something that like I would have loved as a kid, and I'm loving the fact that he's gonna get to enjoy it and see it, as a 10-year-old. So yeah.
Right on, man. Well, I hope you guys have an amazing time
Yeah,
when
that's
that
gonna be
fall gets
cool.
here.
Right. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about like SeaWorld, honestly.
Yeah, I get that.
I a lot
Might
of
be
people
a
is
day of
problematic.
rest. You never know.
Well, it was funny because we're like trying to figure out like if we get a choice of like when or where we go places, and I'm like, I really feel like SeaWorld should be the thing, the first thing, so we get the bar low, and then everything is like up from there. It's like
Fair enough.
it's because but again, it might be like you just said, like it might be a good day of rest where it's like we just sit and enjoy some like I'm more interested about the mimes. I've seen them on TikTok for years now, and I would love to just kind of see how they mock people, because that's something I would love to do. If I could not have to shave, I would love to be a mime that mocks people.
Yeah, I did not know that about you, but I'll be sure to record it in my diary.
Um yeah, so is there anything else that I'm trying to think, is there anything else we really want to talk about when it comes to the theme parks?
Nah,
So
man, I'm
so
good.
for Disney World, I will say this, like I understand like not doing the park hoppers for California. For Disney World, it's kind of this it's a necessity, especially if you only have limited days.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest with you, if you think differently and you're watching this, put it as what you think is like the better. But I will say this, for me and my family, Epcot is not somewhere we're going to spend all day. Um, there's the Crush Turtle Talk. There is um, the Cosmic Rewind, the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. There's the car test track, which is kind of cool. And I think that is the majority. And I think they have like a Moana thing now near the water that was interesting. We're not gonna go travel to go drink. We're not gonna travel to go eat around the world. My wife and I walked it once in one evening because we had park hoppers, and it was fun, but it wasn't something that we're going to sit there going like, oh, we need to go to Canada, we need to go to do this or do that. Um, so we went to Epic, we did Epcot, we did what we needed to do, and then we park hopped right back to Hollywood Studios because that's where we wanted to be. My kid wanted to watch Star Wars, do the Star Wars stuff. So we spent more time at Hollywood, I think, than we did any of the other parks, and we never even made it to Animal Kingdom. So this trip, we're planning on making a priority to go and do the or the Animal Kingdom stuff, especially with the Avatar and everything else. I
Fair enough.
love those blue monkeys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Just don't want them bite you.
Yeah. So with that said, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna wrap. Tell us in the comments what you think is your favorite park. What are some things that you have tips and tricks? Listen, we're not the end all when it comes to things, and so if you've got something, a tip, put it in the comments, put it in the chat. That way, when people go back and look at this, they can see those things. Make this a resource.
Well, plus shout out where you are and what your local theme park is too.
Yeah,
because there are like a lot of little like things like Busch Gardens and all that kind of crud.
Oh yeah, we're We're gonna be going up to Lancaster in sometime in October. There's Dutch Wonderland over there. We were just near Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, with Dollywood, which honestly I never have been. I've never really wanted to go. But maybe that's your
Mhm.
your cup of tea. And of course, Dolly Parton's done a lot for Pigeon Forge, so it makes sense. It makes sense. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Was it Cedar Run, Cedar Knolls? I can't remember what it is now. There's stuff in Ohio, which I don't know if I want to go to Ohio.
The whole point is there are lots of not the biggest name theme parks out
Now,
there.
did you know that Disney almost had a theme park? I'm sorry, not Disney. Jeez, DC, Washington DC area almost had a theme park, a Disney theme park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of that whole history of Disney thing that was on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay, yeah. It would have literally. I probably would have been working there if that was the case, because it's literally like 40 minutes from my house. If it would have been.
Different world, man.
I know. Well, with that said, this has been It's Fanbox. It has been probably one of the more random episodes, because honestly, like just getting on camera and doing an episode seems to be a big deal, in the sense of getting motivated to do it. And Will, you know exactly how that is. But I thank you guys for watching. I thank you guys for being listening. If you're doing this with the podcast, remember to check out itsfanbox.com as well as fanboxnetwork.com to find out about other podcasts and other things that are being posted through the Fanbox Network. Do not forget to check out this channel later on tonight at 10 o'clock as the After Andor. These are episodes 7, 8, and 9. As they're talking about, what's been going on leading up to Rogue One. And then we will be doing TARDIS Talk tomorrow sometime. But with that said, I'm Tony.
I'm Will.
There you go. And we will see you in 2 weeks, hopefully.